everyone, and welcome to our second episode of our SIMC podcast. And now we have Daria as our guest. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Daria Bryzhytska. I'm intake 2021. I come originally from Ukraine, moved to Austria 9 years ago. I did my bachelor's in Innsbruck, moved to Vienna, and after working for some time, decided to join SIM community and finished my master 2 years ago and had great time in SIMC and ready to talk about it today.
Let's maybe touch on your last part. You said that you joined SIMC Master.
Yeah.
Why? Why SIMC Master exactly? Among so many great masters at VU and in Europe, why exactly SIMC?
Okay, I'll rewind a bit back. So after finishing my bachelor's, I felt like I'm so done with with academia. I just want to go work, start the professional life, and I was a bit traumatized by writing papers and going to exams and all of that, despite having a great student life. So I really took my time. I had 3 years break between my bachelor's and master's, so I had time to think through, do I want to do this? If I do want to do, in which direction, which university, which people I want to surround myself with. And that's how I started looking. I wanted to stay in Vienna because I love living in Vienna. I wouldn't want to change it for a thing. Maybe a short term, but not long term. I see myself in Vienna. So I was looking particularly at VU. And SIMC stood out from all the master programs because of the content and the people. Like you see that the content is taught directly in the area where I want to develop, and you see that the people here are great. It's an interesting community of like-minded people, as we say. You meet people from so many backgrounds, but somehow they all connect and they stay together for a very long time. Sometimes when you see those like ski trips and people from 2014 joining, that's interesting to see. I think those two aspects, being very hands-on in what they're teaching and having a good community that has strong ties even after the program. That was the good selling point.
I'm also curious, how did you pick Austria in the first place?
I did my school in Ukraine, and I think around 10th grade, I decided that I want to study in Europe. I want to be not super far away from home, so reachable at that time with the plane.
Yeah, I can understand.
And I was looking for something in Europe, something in English, something in direction of business management. So I think I narrowed down my choices, also budget-wise, I narrowed down my choices to Austria, Czech Republic, and Poland. And we did a trip with my parents in the 10th grade, where we just went to different universities, see how the buildings are like, what are the people like. I met a few professors here and there, and I was sold in Innsbruck. I had a good student life in Innsbruck. I did 2 years there with the exchange semester in Copenhagen as well. So I got to experience different universities, different styles. But that's how I ended up in Austria.
Austria is actually very under the radar if you compare it to other places. It's not that famous, but at the same time, it has so much to offer for university students.
Yeah.
And it's also so cheap to study here in comparison to France or the United Kingdom.
For sure. And when you think about it, the student life here is amazing. When you think about it, in Innsbruck, you had mountains, you had lots of outdoor parties, you had, just a student city. In Vienna, it's much larger, so the scale of what you can do here is also much broader.
Yeah.
And it's both places are, I think, great for starting out and doing your university studies.
Great. So maybe let's go back to the SIMC Master. And what interests me, what what subjects, what skills has SIMC taught you for your career, especially for your role now, because you're working as a consultant.
Yeah.
Can you maybe elaborate on that?
Skills. I think it gives you a very good foundation of everything you need to know when you start working. For example, in my case, in consulting, where you have the strategic courses, you have some part of valuations, you have the controlling part. So all this hard skills that you need to know when you start out. But also for those who are looking for a career in consulting, I think it's also a good place to do your market research and, attend different workshops. For example, also participate in consulting live course, where you get to meet different consulting companies around Vienna, have a workshop with them, have some informal communication, so see where you fit better, because it's good to see what they're doing, but at the end of the day, it's very close what everyone is doing here. But you see where you fit in, and you see what kind of team community you want to be in, and that I think is important. So having this shopping around and
sure.
looking what fits you.
Actually, we are very close to signing up for this course, so would you recommend it?
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
so-
I think it was one of highly recommend Consulting Live. If you're signing up, do it now. I think it was quite eye-opening, because we know all those big brands, right?
Yeah.
But when you go week by week and you see the office, you see the people,
The work atmosphere.
You see, what people do after work, if there is life after work.
That's a very good point here.
That's important to see. And also all this informal communication that happens after the workshop, where you get to ask one-on-one questions. That's how we also met recently.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, also one of the fun parts about my job right now, organizing workshops for SIMC students. So being on both sides.
Yeah, we have to say here the workshop was really amazing. It was very insightful. The case was also a bit challenging, but there was a lot to learn from it.
Yeah, but that's
And
how,
then we
how you
had
grow.
a very good opportunity to meet everyone from the team.
Yeah. And for the background, I'm not sure if I mentioned, I'm the consultant with Arthur the Little Vienna office. And yes, currently I'm responsible for SIMC cooperation. So being the SIMC student myself, I find it very rewarding to first be a student, go to all those workshops, see how it works, what I like, what I don't like, and now being able to implement it firsthand and be this face to the student community.
Do you actually employ any SIMC students in ADL? And do you work with SIMC students on day-to-day basis?
Both
in your work?
Full-time and interns, yes, we do. When I joined, I think there were 3 of us, starting from the intake 2014. So it was different age groups, different backgrounds. And yes, it was great to see that I see people from similar backgrounds, similar experiences that I had. And now also having the interns and actively promoting to SIMC students, because it's kind of a stamp of quality.
Maybe something very interesting for ADO is one of not so many firms in Vienna that actually employ international students.
To my
and
knowledge,
Germany
it's
is
the
not a
only,
requirement.
Yeah. I mean, doing the case study well, knowing English, coming here motivated, and being passionate about what you want to do, what you want to learn is what we're looking for.
Personally, for me, it was a big selling point at the beginning, and after that, I saw how it works with other consulting companies, and it was quite impressive that they're actually doing that.
That's how I was recruited. So, one of the SIMC workshops that we had back in 2022, I think January, we were still in the online mode at that time with the workshops. I was at the workshop and I was really impressed with the team, which I thought I could fit in very well to. And so I just contacted the people from ADL right after the workshop, saying that I would like to have an interview, and I work with them now.
So you started working with them in your second year?
Yes, actually in my 3rd semester, I already got an internship. First, I did it full-time during the summer, side by side with one other SIMCie, Marlies. Hello. So we had good experience over summer. At that point, I already decided that, yes, consulting life is sustainable, because I can imagine that in many companies or for many people, it might not be how they want to spend their life, their time. For me, it worked out. So I told the guys that I would like to stay if you want me to.
Yeah,
and
cool.
It did work out. I signed a full-time contract for March, but even between summer and March of the next year, I was doing the part-time internship with ADL while still writing my thesis. Which took some time because of working. But that's, I think, also one of the learnings is just be kind to yourself, take time, Like don't stress too much. Don't take everything too serious, and try to enjoy it. And if you need more time, take more time.
So you didn't go for exchange in your second year, and
No.
you decided to stay here and work?
No. I decided to stay. I loved Vienna. I already had the internship. I did the exchange during my bachelor's in Copenhagen, so I already had enough international experience to settle down. And I decided to stay, and I had this experience of those SIMCies that stay here and get all the international experience here because of the exchange students.
And for all of us, it's already quite an international experience just being here.
Yeah, as well.
Have you maybe any tips for SIMCies how to combine like business life with university life? Because you said like you wrote your master thesis when working part-time.
Yeah. Structure. So like being good in scheduling both professional things and private things, because if it's not in your calendar, it's not there. It's not happening.
Yeah,
So if you don't plan ahead, that's not gonna work out when you have university, work, some after work life that you want to have. I think you have to be very structured in what you're doing, but as I said, also be kind to yourself, because you only have 24 hours, and at some point you need to prioritize your recovery time, your mental health, and sometimes things can be done tomorrow and nothing's gonna burn. So structure.
That's very good advice.
And put yourself first.
And what would you say was your key takeaway from SIMC? Was it like the soft skills or more the theoretical knowledge you gathered during the program?
I think the power of this network, that's what I think stuck with me the most, because you know how in the beginning of the program, I'm not sure if it was with everyone, but I heard with many people where you feel a bit overwhelmed by how awesome everyone is.
Yeah.
Like everyone already did so much, they already have so much background, and you have a bit of the imposter syndrome of how can you fit in this group of so many like high accomplished young people, 30 under 30, and with time you just fit in and you grow so many connections, some like more close, some are more loose, but in the end of the day, like after the SIMC ends, you just you stay in touch, you see each other around the city, outside of Austria, so the power of those loose ties I think is very important.
And you also go to alumni events together?
I go from time to time. Right now, I think it's a bit challenging, but I do come for like partners event to SIMC. I come for some that German sentence.
Yes.
So
and
all
also,
the good events
and also
that
I
are
saw
happening.
you like at running dinner, right?
Not this year, but during the 2021, that was my highlight.
Okay.
I love cooking, and that was my time to shine.
I had some people from ADO coming to my place for running dinner, and they were all alumni.
Yeah. Actually, right now,
nice.
because in ADL we have, as I said, like quite a lot of SIMCies. Sophie, hello. She attended the running dinner, and she shared all the impressions and all the good dishes that she had over the time. Yeah.
It's very surprising that you're a consulting company and you still have this atmosphere going around.
Yeah.
And people are still friends to each other and don't get too overstressed, and at the same time you're doing very good professional work.
I think it very much resonates with the setup that we have in SIMC. So especially in the consulting companies where you have more of like a young generation of consultants there, we try to bond a lot. Like sometimes go to the gym together. We would have either dinners together or going out. So it's all this similar situation like you have in SIMC. You're friends at work and outside of work. So I think very, very many things do resonate. We also have a ski trip.
Oh yeah, that one is
annual ski trip. So. Oh.
So what would you say was your favorite SIMC memory, bringing you back to SIMC a bit?
I think I already mentioned the running dinner. That was, I think, my highlight. But if I need to come up with something new, then it's the StratSim game.
Oh.
I'm very competitive, and I really enjoyed the time. Because of that, I signed up for the other course with Professor Sporn just so that I can do the StratSim or similar game again. Because it's fun, it's strategy, it's challenging. You see how people in your team think. You try to analyze how others would what would they do. And I think you learn a lot about yourself, about how you work in the teams, but also how to win, or in our case, come second.
We were the second.
And this course with Spon, it was like in the second semester, right?
I think it was in second year. I think there's a choice between Professor Koenig's course and Professor Sporn's course.
Okay. And you're also doing like simulation there? Same as
in
strategic
the Professor Sporn, you're doing the simulation. It's a different platform, but similar concept.
Mm-hmm.
So you already can work on the mistakes you did in the first year and improve. Which I think we still came second, but
anyway,
but who cares? Yeah, it was fun time. It was worth it, and highly recommend if you like this sort of games that resonate with real life in some sense. Then do it.
Okay. Great advice, because we are currently planning our second semester, and I'm considering between Koenig's and Span's course.
Yeah, so. I think both choices are great. It's just the question of what you want to do, right?
Yeah, sure.
And also the timing.
And now with work, how do you find time to balance your work life with your personal life?
Difficult but manageable. In consulting, I think many people would relate. You have those waves where it's like the project is burning, you need like your full attention there. And there are some times where you're on the bench waiting for the project, helping with the proposals, and then life gets a bit more relaxed. What I did find helpful to myself is that I'm a morning person. So that's part of the day that I have control over every day. So for example, if I want to exercise, I always do it in the morning, have a proper breakfast, like do all the things I want to do in the morning, maybe read, and then sign up and work. So yes, again, I think lots of structure and knowing that long term, it's very important to prioritize your mental health, your physical health, because if you burn out in a week, it's not going to be helpful for the company nor for yourself. Yeah.
Your career is just over if you're burnt out, so...
Yeah, exactly. So it's not
That's
helping
a very
anyone.
important advice to everyone.
Not helping anyone. No.
And how your typical day currently looks like, for example, for...
Today?
Yeah. Not today, but maybe like, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like for listeners.
Right now I'm working on a project with a Danish client.
Mm-hmm.
And in Denmark, they have this very interesting setup where people mostly work from 8 to 4. Again, lucky that I'm an early morning person. So on Monday, I would say I wake up around 6:30. I exercise at home for an hour. I have breakfast. Because it's Monday, I have a stand-up with the client at 8:30. That one I usually do from home. So I have 8:30 to 9 o'clock stand-up with the client. We see what's the progress from the last week. What would they like us to prioritize this week? Where do they need our help? So that I do until 9-ish, I would say. Then I run to the office, our office in Schwedenplatz. So I go there, saying hi to all my colleagues. Start my day again with some work based on what we discussed with the client. I think around 12-ish we have lunch. Normally we go do some pickup from somewhere nearby with my colleagues. We have lunch where we, chat not only about work but also personal life, any updates. And it's interesting also in consulting where you have international teams. And sometimes, or oftentimes actually, in the office you have people from different offices. So you bond not only with your Vienna crew, but you also have people coming from different offices, from their experience, what they're working on, how long they're going to stay here, like all the interesting chit chat.
Yeah.
Then I work. Question how long do I work is very much depends on the day, right? And so very much varies. But
Are
no
you
matter
able
what,
to give an estimate?
No, not really. Not on camera.
Maybe after the podcast ends.
But I can promise you that every evening I try to go and have proper dinner at home. So I try to take a break between 7 and 8. Like I go home and make dinner for me. It's really important to have dinner with my partner to like talk about how his day is, chat. And then if I have to reconnect at 8 and finish what I have to do. So that's how it works out for me. That's how I balance it out. Having sports in the morning, lunch, like unwind, like don't talk much about work, but more about private things with colleagues, and then in the evening having a proper conversation with my partner and working between all those things.
If you could go back in time and you're just starting SIMC, would you do anything differently?
I would try to sign up for as many events as you can. Like right now I have super FOMO of things I did not do. Unfortunately in my second year the full-scale invasion started in Ukraine, and I was not, so outgoing as I probably would be
It's very understandable.
in different situations. So I feel like I missed some of the events which I wish I attended, but it's never too late. You always invite the old SIMCies to those events, so I might join it at some point.
Yeah, so don't forget, one SIMCie, always SIMCie.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right. So, do you have maybe any advice for SIMC students that want to apply in some, for example, consulting boutiques? How to like prepare for interviews there? Do you have any insights there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, do your market research and be sure that that's where you want to apply, right? When you do your market research, I would say feel free to reach out to people. Like, it's not that scary. We're not biting. We're always keen to like talk and answer questions. The worst thing, somebody ignores you on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a big trauma. So yes, I'm always happy to share whenever somebody contacts me, and I'm happy that so many SIMCies do. Do your research, talk to people, see if that's where you want to be, see how the company is developing. Maybe there is a new practices opening. Maybe there are some topics that this company is working on that you might be interested in, or beyond your wish to work with, right? Some geographies or some topics. So do your research, be sure that that's where you want to be, but also have this knowledge about the companies. And when you come for the interview, you're well aware, you can shine and stand out. For example, there was, because I also do interviews for ADL on Fridays.
Maybe we're going to do one together.
Yes, there was one intern who impressed me very much by not just like shining about what he wanted to do with ADL and which topics he was strong in, but he also read our recent viewpoints, and he was able to like explain what he thought about it, his feedback. That was very interesting. And it was not me who wrote that viewpoint, but I was happy to share this feedback later with my colleague. And I think this person is with us right now.
Yeah.
So impressive, yeah. Market research, second, case studies. There is no way around it, unfortunately. Right now, I think we and other consulting companies are trying to be more creative and make it less, your standard case study, like market assessment, how many balls you can fit in the airplane, that kind of thing. So we're trying to be a bit more creative, a bit more close to real life, to real problems. But either way, as long as you already practiced enough and you have the structure in your head, you should be able to solve it. And the third would probably just be yourself, because as much as you are trying to get a job or internship, you need to be sure that that's the place where you want to be. And it's interview also for the company, right? Sure. So prepare your questions, what you wanted to know from the company that you did not hear yet before through your market research, something that you want to clarify about the internship. If it's part-time, which hours can you assume, or like how can you structure a day? Which topics you would like to work on? Is the company providing those kind of projects? So interview them as well.
Yeah.
And do you want to stay in consulting long term?
I see myself in consulting long term, at least as for now, right? Never say never. But right now I'm really enjoying it. I like what I'm doing. I've been in consulting now for almost 3 years. And it still drives me. It's still sustainable. I still, have my time and exercise and have my friends' time. So as long as it works, I see myself here. I jump from topic to topic right now. I'm more on the generalist side. I focus more on the cybersecurity topics, but I'm also active in like different kind of due diligences, telecom projects, AI, so like whatnot. And that's what keeps me interested in consulting. That while you might have this one big topic in mind, you can also know something about many different things.
But you learn so much during your work.
Yeah.
With all that.
For sure. And you also learn a lot about yourself, like what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? How can you leverage those? And traveling is also fun.
That would be my next question. Actually, like how many times per week do you travel to like overseas, probably, or to different countries in Europe? Like,
It very much depends on the project and on the person. So some of the projects do require on-site presence. I think in Europe we see it less and less right now as people or companies becoming more cautious about the costs and the air travel. If we're talking about Middle East, for example, there the clients prefer the on-site presence. They prefer to see what they're paying for. They prefer to see the day-to-day work and communicate with you in person. So I would say that colleagues that go to Middle East countries, they go bi-weekly or so. While colleagues in Europe, I think it depends very much on the project. But for example, my project, I've been there for 8 months specifically in this project. And I traveled 5 times. So 5 times travel maybe for 2-3 days. And those were specific workshops where the client would require our presence. So there's like dedicated reason why you're doing this.
But I also guess it makes your work life more interesting because it's more dynamic. You're seeing new places. You have change of environment.
Yeah.
Maybe it's less monotonic in this way.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always nice to see the client in person. Like, because of course you see each other online every day or so, but when being in real life and seeing the person behind that screen, that changes the dynamic a lot. And yes, it's also nice to have those personal connections because many people from client teams I'm still in contact on LinkedIn and seeing their progress, them seeing my progress. It's the social part of the job that is also very interesting.
And that's also how you like learn different cultures, which is also very important, I guess, for your job. Yeah,
for sure. As I said, like I didn't know about the working hours in Denmark or that they also have the ugly sweater day like in US. Or that they have the summer festival. It's like there's also like a nickname like Potato Week for that. Or like it used to be like a crop gathering week. And right now they're just like celebrating a day or two with big festivals outdoors. And
cool.
Yeah, learning a lot about different cultures here.
Fantastic.
It's also a very useful thing from SIMC actually because you're exposed to so many different cultures and it's a very international program. And I guess it helps you a lot in your work life now.
I think you develop so much by just being people outside of your bubble.
Yeah.
And expanding your worldview, your opinions. Great place to be.
Yeah, so let's maybe go slowly to our end round, which is a quick fire round. And now, we would like to ask you one thing about SIMC, and you will just strike with immediate answer. If you could, for example, which is your favorite course in SIMC?
Strategic management, the strat game specifically.
Was it also with Hoffman?
Yeah, Hoffman and. What the name of the other professor? But yeah, Hoffman. I think
Sebastian.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
Sebastian in the first semester. Maybe it's also because it's one of the first courses that you're taking. It stays with you for a long time. But as I said, the group work. That's.
And who's your favorite professor?
That's a tough one. Yeah, probably also Hoffman. Oh. There are many good quotes we got out of the courses.
I mean, there are a lot of fits with Daria and Hoffman. He's also a consultant, a very knowledgeable consultant in Vienna. Yeah, so understandable.
He's a SIMC legend.
Yeah, after all. What is your best SIMC memory?
I think running dinner. Running dinner, as I said, I love cooking, so I was looking forward to that. So it's like
what have you cooked?
The showdown. Unfortunately, I got the starters, and I'm a baker, so I'd rather do desserts, but that's what I got. I don't remember the full menu because, of course, I went crazy, but I did some consommé with pumpkin ravioli and I did some gravlax with something. So it was a long starter menu.
Cool.
I was happy.
Sounds
and
very
then
tasty.
Everyone was very tipsy, like going from house to house and ended up in the club. So that was my highlight.
Yeah. And to change the tone a bit, do you have a bad SIMC memory?
The trip I didn't go to.
the phone on display.
The ski trip, yeah. That's the only bad memory. I couldn't go and I was sad about that.
but you can sign up for this year's SIMCie trip
next year.
All right. So, one thing you miss about being student?
Free time to go party.
Oh.
Yeah, because right now the time is getting very, very precious, and when you think back about SIMC days, you have so much time, and you spend it studying and having fun. So that's very precious. Think about that.
Have you been partying a lot actually in your first year?
Not so much. As I said, that's maybe one of the regrets. We should sign up for more events, but I think I partied enough to keep it healthy.
Okay, just to have a bunch of cool memories.
Yeah, just a bunch of cool memories for sure.
And a tricky question: library or SIMC space?
I think the SIMC space started closer to the end of my studies.
Oh yeah.
But yes, I would definitely do SIMC space. It feels more like a club.
Have you actually visited library for your exam preparations in
I
SIMC?
did everything from home. I have a good working space at home, so not so much the library. But SIMC space, I would visit if I had more time. I think it's a good place to socialize and also study as a group work. So that would be a place to go.
Yeah. In case nobody knows, SIMC space is actually our small library inside of D5 building at VU.
And SIMC is the only master program which has this space. Nobody else has it in VEL.
Yeah, and here you can actually get free coffee and a lot of cool stuff from our partners, like ADL, like notebooks and
And drinks, there is always something there.
Mm-hmm.
Non-alcoholic.
So if you're considering SIMC Master, don't forget about it.
Yeah.
And finally, our last question would be what is top skill? The one SIMC taught you?
Networking. I think because your network expands so much, both privately and professionally during SIMC, that first of all you learn how to do the small talks. And that not everyone comes with that skill, right? So that's something I think you acquire during SIMC. And you're put in so many random teams during your studies and people you might not know yet. So you learn that fast. And also keeping in touch with that network. That's something that I'm struggling with, but I'm working on. So building those relationships and maintaining the relationship within your network.
Yeah, cool. I think contacts and networks are the most important asset you have after the master.
Yeah.
But the way SIMC program is structured, it's just making you keep them forever because you have all those events and you're invited to them every year, and they do trips 10 years after they graduate. So
and so many chats.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Daria, for making the time and finding a free spot in your busy schedule. Yeah.
Of course,
thank you so much.
Happy to be here, and thank you for inviting. I had a really nice time and talk with you guys.
Thank you.
And stay tuned for our third episode very soon.
See you.
See you.